traceability of information, so that when the accountancy will be done, we are sure that we can trace back where the different batches come from, and if we are using correctly in the definition of the average, if we will be using the average. At the same time, if you decide to communicate through alternative system, which is not a label, which is difficult to change from a product to product, if you use QR codes, then you always link the barcode. You know exactly which barcode corresponds to what badge. So in that case, I mean, the new IT system might allow more flexibility in terms of information and providing the correct information for different badges. So that is also something that might come.
On your second part of the question, if I remember correctly, it is about how often do you have to update. I think there we have to find a solution similar to, I think is as well in eco-labels and as well in EPDs, that you have to check if you have significant changes throughout your whole supply chain, which would significantly alter the final result. So not 10% in the suppliers make probably no difference if you look at the final product. But if the product, the final product shifts of, I think in EPDs it's very often 10%, I think, then you at least need to recalculate. Whether you then need to redo the whole thing is a question of whether these changes are confirmed as significant, let's say larger than 10% on the final result. But we must have a kind of check that it cannot be that apart from, let's say, deviations which happen in the supply chain which do not impact the final result, that you can have an outdated declaration based on a PEF where it has no relation to the product you sell anymore. That cannot be. So there must be some kind of, not best buy date, but when you have significant changes in your supply chain which would alter the final result by a certain percentage, then you would have to at least redo the calculations and then think about whether you have to redo the communication as well. And of course it will depend, sorry Michele, it will depend very much in which context you use that kind of information. So if it is used in a policy instrument context, I'm sure that the policy instrument will tell you how long this kind of declaration can be used.
Of course, bear in mind that we're looking at this from a life cycle standpoint. So if I'm changing my chemistry, not only the performance of the chemistry and its formulation, but its source, how do I know